Hello and welcome to 𝐿𝐭𝐴 Nations League. We are going to analyze the games on Saturday and Sunday, match day 3, match day 4 for Spain and Portugal. With Alvaro, with Dani, with you. Remember to leave your comments, press the like and subscribe. And now let's go on with the show. New match day in the Nations League. We are going to analyze the games we have this weekend. Match day 3 or 4. Dani, Alvaro, hello. Nice to see you. Well done, by the way. You were spot on with the goals and almost with Alvaro's ACCA, actually, in the last match day. So for those who are not enjoying these games, follow our video and perhaps you make some money. Dani, and we are going to start with the game of Netherlands and Poland. I think one of the teams that we are enjoying more in these games is the Netherlands. So far they are scoring goals. They beat Wales in the last game. Both games, by the way, they were playing away in Wales and in Belgium. So good feelings, I think, for Louis van Gaal men. And now they are facing a Poland that was very disappointing in the last game against Belgium, as we expected. So the bookies, I'm not sure, Dani, if you too expect an easy victory for the Netherlands.
Well, Netherlands now are playing 3 games out of 4 at home, so they're obviously favorite to win Group 4 of the Nations League A. And yes, it is a very exciting side. It wasn't a great game against Wales, but Van Gaal made 11 changes. He changed the entire lineup, and they were the better side. Okay, in the end, it was a very late goal from Weghorst, but I think they deserved to win. They are unbeaten since the Euros, 11 games, and within those 11 games, they played some very good side, Germany, Belgium, Denmark, also Norway. So, you know, they are really matching with all the teams that are going to the World Cup. They scored at least 2 goals in 8 of the last 11 games. And, you know, the game against Wales confirms that it's a very good group of players. Van Gaal wants to rotate, wants to give everyone a chance, wants to keep everyone happy. But I would expect for this one, Depay, De Jong to return to the starting 11. So a strong lineup. So the best team so far of the Nations League against the poorest team of the Nations League. What's happening to Poland? Poland are a massive disappointment. I think it is a team that is really underperforming. They are 26th in the FIFA ranking. They are the 14th European team, and they just qualified for the World Cup. By the way, I don't think they're going to get through the World Cup group with Argentina, Saudi Arabia, and Mexico. What happened against Belgium? Well, they took the lead, then Lewandowski came off, and they disappeared. Is the Bayern Munich striker really concentrated, focused? Maybe he's thinking more about this transfer. He already said he won't play the 90 minutes more in this competition. He's desperate to leave Bayern. I will not be surprised if Poland doesn't start, if Lewandowski doesn't start this game. But what about the rest of the players? Why such a big nation hasn't produced enough quality players? Look at the likes of Serbia, Sweden, Wales himself. They are better. They got better players than Poland. Poland seems to have only one good player, and that's it. And actually against Belgium, they could have lost by 7 or 8. Last time they met, it was the Nations League last year. 2 wins for Netherlands, 1-0 and 2-1 in both games. For this reason, I think I'm going to go for a Netherlands win, and I'm going to look at the Asian handicap here. I think they might thump Poland. So Asian handicap -1, 194. That's the most conservative one, but you might even go -1.5.
And Netherlands, Alvaro, they have a very good record actually at home, thrashing Turkey, beating Norway, scoring 4 against Denmark. And Dani mentioned one of these names in the attacking line, Weghorst, having a tough season with Wolfsburg and with Burnley, and back in the score sheet.
Well, he did score a very nice goal. That header was very self-satisfying, I guess, and it gave the Netherlands the win. And, you know, I think that the team deserved to beat Wales, and they did it at the end. By the way, that game had another great header by Norrington Davies for Wales. So it was a game of great headers, that Wales versus Netherlands. But, you know, I think that for this game, I'm going to back the goals market, and I tell you why. In the friendlies, in the past friendlies that they don't play anymore, we showed that there were many changes in the second halves of the games, and I think that this Nations League differs from those friendlies, that in the second halves, the games don't have so many changes because the FIFA and UEFA rules apply here. So all the teams are restricted to 5 subs because these are official games, and the changes inside or within the game in the Nations League have been replaced by heavy rotations from game to game. So, for example, the Netherlands, they made 11 changes versus Wales, as Daniele said. Wales did 7 changes to the team that beat Ukraine. Italy, 6 changes in relation to the starting lineup against Germany. Austria, 9 changes. Spain, endless rotations. So, my advice, don't bet on the individual performances, as I have been advising lately, because you never know who's going to play. We have seen this in the Nations League lately. You might see yourself putting your money on a player who spends the night on the bench. So go for the team odds, avoid the individual odds, and even if the teams rotate, there is something that seems to happen that repeats itself in this Nations League, which is goals. Goals are happening. We haven't had a single 0-0 in 18 games in the League A, which is the league that we are analyzing these days. So for this game, I'm going to go for goals. So Netherlands to score in both halves is my favorite bet here, 2.15. But of course, you can choose from the range of a goal market. You can go for the over 2.5 goals, 172, or even over 1.5 goals in the second half, 191. And by the way, about Poland, Danny was spot on. Poland has never been a football country, apart from being third in a World Cup, but they haven't qualified for many tournaments. And generally speaking, this is not... or football is not a sport that entices the country a lot, normally. I know that because I've been to Poland many times, and this Polish team, on top of that, is very depleted as well, because the likes of Szczesny, Milic, Moder, Piontek, Bielik are missing, and I think the team is perceiving that very badly.
You enjoyed Shubrówka and Pielmini if you travel to Poland. Alvaro, you were talking about goals, so let's talk about Wales, Belgium, and we have a new feature in Oddspedia, by the way. We have league stats, so if you go to the Nations League page, you will find league stats, and you will find that Belgium have scored in all the games. Both teams score, also both teams score an over 2.5 goals in every single Belgium game, and perhaps, Alvaro, in this Wales-Belgium, we also see many goals. You were both very right to bet on Wales to lose against Poland, and to the Netherlands, also both teams to score in those games. So perhaps we should keep an eye on this game, Alvaro, and bet as well on goals?
Yeah, I think so. Belgium is scoring many goals. The Netherlands have scored in their last 11 games. There are a few teams in the Nations League, even Portugal, that they are scoring with a certain ease. And for example, the Belgian team the other day scored 6 against Poland, which was, by the way, a very soothing win for them, because after Lewandowski's opener, Belgium was in desperate need for a goal in front of their crowd. Don't forget they had lost against the Netherlands days before, and 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐽 in the first half scored a very comforting goal for Belgium. Then in the second half, they scored 5 goals. I think Leandro Trossard has scored probably so far the best goal of the tournament, a beautiful effort, a beautiful screamer, the best one I have seen in the Nations League. And again, I think that the Belgian team has a little bit of a problem when Thibaut Courtois is not there, because Simon Mignolet is not the greatest, and even in Lewandowski's goal, he could have made his body a little bit bigger, his silhouette a little bit bigger, just to stop the shot from the pole, which, by the way, scored from a very comfortable position anyway. But yeah, what I mean with this is that Mignolet is not the best goalkeeper right now, and then the Belgian team are scoring plenty of goals. So going for goals is like a logical thing to do here, and I think that Wales is a little bit the conundrum for me, and the big question, what are they going to do exactly? Because, for example, the last day Gareth Bale didn't start. They did 7 changes to the team that beat Ukraine, and it's a little bit difficult to understand what Wales are going to use this Nations League for. Clearly, they are not going to win it. Clearly, they are not going to top their group. So I wonder what the motivation is for them right now. I mean, apart apart from having qualified for World Cup 2022. So in this game, I'm gonna go for something very simple: Belgium to win. I think that this is going to be a fight between the Netherlands and Belgium for the top spot. Belgium to win 190 away from home, or otherwise the goals market, as I said before, but only for Belgium. Belgium to score 2 or more goals, that pays 191.
I think for Wales, the motivation is not to get relegated. If they finish third in the group, so above Poland, they might have good chances to go to the playoff of the Euros if you look all the other nations in the League A. So I think that's where the motivation could be, potentially having that back route to the playoff of the Euros. Wales might qualify anyway for the Euros. Look, I think both games in this Nations League, they've been influenced by the final against Ukraine. There were a lot of changes, 7 changes, as you mentioned, in the game against the Netherlands. So I think now Robert Page will probably play his best 11 for this one. I would expect for sure Gareth Bale to start, but there are some issues for Wales at the back. They are without the 2 best keeper, Hennessy, who was amazing against Ukraine, and Ward. They both pick up an injury, but against Netherlands, plenty of courage, plenty of team spirit. Perhaps the quality is not always there, but that was the first time Wales lost at home since Euro, World Cup qualifiers, and the Nations League of the last year. So that was the first home defeat for Wales since November 2018. When they play at home, they are hard to beat, and that's how they build a success. So that's why I do back what Alvaro said, both teams to score. I think Wales could hurt a Belgium backline that is far from perfect. We said it even before, the 3 central defender, Alderweireld, Vertonghen, and Boyata, none of them play for top teams, for example. Belgium has got a lot of talent, we know, but Martinez always seems to play the same players. Why doesn't he give a little bit more space to Arthur Thiat, De Ketelaere, Van Aken? I think Openda as well, who scored in the last minute against the Poland. Maybe he could have started a little bit early. I wonder why Martinez is always trusting the same player. This could be a good time to experiment. Good news for Martinez. Hazard looked okay, looked sharp. And, the last time they met, these 2 teams, was in World Cup qualifiers. Both games were both to score. 1-1 in Cardiff, 3-1 in Leuven. For this reason, I go for both to score again, which pays 193.
Let's hope to see the best version of Eden Hazard next season, finally, after 2 seasons as a nightmare for Eden Hazard. Then we were talking about goals. This is match day 3. Let's move to match day 4. And this is far from being entertaining. Spain, they are playing in Malaga, in La Rosaleda, against Czech Republic. Very, very, very boring game of Spain against Switzerland. At least they got the 3 points, so they are still in the race to finish first in this group, together with Portugal, of course, this race. And Dani, Spain have to improve a lot, especially defensively. Unai Simon is still making mistakes, the goalkeeper, but even offensively, not offering that much Morata or Ferran Torres, for instance, who were the ones who started against Switzerland. How do you see this Spain-Czech Republic? Because Czech Republic were able to harm Spain only a few days ago.
Yeah, they were, and they hit them on the counter. I think Czech Republic is a good counter-attacking team. Against Portugal, they lacked the last pass, so they lacked the precision in front of goal, but they did have chances, at least 3 good chances on the counter. And we know against Spain, they were able to have at least 3 or 4 1-1 and 2 very good goals. Spain are dominant, but they are not impressive. They are a bit flat, to be fair. They got a better teams, I think, than the Czech Republic and Switzerland, but they haven't produced such great displays, if you like. Obviously they got some players that are in great form, like Gavi in the middle of the field. Up front, Morata does a lot of hard work, but then maybe he's not sharp enough in front of goals. And when it comes to Czech Republic, I watched them against Portugal. They like to sit deep. They like to defend. They made also a few changes. They changed the keeper, Vaklik, for example, who might come back. They seem to have only one plan, which is hit teams on the counter. They need to be admired because they are doing that even without the 2 main players, which are Schick and Barak, but they leave themselves quite exposed, quite vulnerable. You could see against Portugal, who is an excellent passing team, but not just passing, very good movements as well to break the lines. They suffered a lot. I think 2-0 is actually a bit generous for the Czech Republic. It could have been a much higher score. So for this reason, I think Spain will do the job. They know they have to win this, because then the last game is in Portugal to have a chance to go to the Nations League final. I might not expect a very exciting display from Spain again. It might be an under 2.5 goals, but I find the value on Spain to start the the game. So to win the first half, that pays too.
It's gonna be full, the stadium in Malaga, in La Rosaleda. Alvaro, I guess you got bored, no? Watching Spain against Switzerland.
I got worried because I think that from Euro 2021 until now, the team hasn't improved in any aspect. I think that, number one, the mistakes are very recurrent. You can't compete in a tournament like a World Cup if you make one critical mistake per half. It's just impossible. So ultimately, I think that Luis Enrique will have to resort to the most expert centre-backs and defenders, because otherwise this cannot... it's not sustainable. I mean, the likes of Azpilicueta, Carvajal, Laporte, Jordi Alba, I think they have to be on the pitch in the 90% of the games. That's for sure. Even Pau Torres, he did a good game, but I think that Carvajal, Azpilicueta especially, and a solid centre-back like Laporte, they always have to play, because they are the guys who have the expertise. Then also, I think that Spain is dominant, but they have been inaccurate. I mean, yesterday I was watching the game in one channel that I won't mention now, and they were praising that Spain had a very good passing accuracy. But the truth is that they didn't have passing accuracy up front, neither in their own box, because look at Unai Simon with the centre-backs, the amount of mistakes they did. So don't always believe in the numbers, believe where the numbers happen. And in the boxes, Spain wasn't good again. And then, for example, look at the way Portugal beat the Czech Republic, and look at the game that Spain had with the Czech Republic back in the Czech Republic. I mean, Portugal, when they play against a tight defense, they've got so much individual talent that they can kind of open the defense lock of the opponent's side. Spain cannot do that, because collectively they can do well, but individually at some point players have to make the difference, and Spain doesn't have anyone up front right now who makes the difference. Ferran Torres is in a very concerning state. I mean, he's in a personal footballing crisis. Morata is Alvaro Morata. He's gonna play because he's the best striker around in Spain, but yeah, the likes of Gerard Moreno are very badly missed, for sure. When it comes to the odds themselves, well, Spain to win pays too little. It pays 136, but I think that this is totally what is the word for this? I think that this is delusional, because Spain struggles to crack tight defenses and cautious opponents. And in the Euros, don't forget that we played 3 games at home and we won only 1, but 2 of them we drew them. So Spain winning at home against a lesser side is not necessarily something that happens quite often. So then Spain doesn't score many goals. I mean, they have scored 63 goals since the return of football after the pandemic, since 2020 September, 63 goals in 31 games, but in 17 of those 31 games, they haven't been able to score more than 1 goal. 0 goals or 1 goal, which tells you that Spain, when they have a bad day, they can't score. It's the total opposite of what we were saying about the Netherlands, that they've been scoring 2 goals in 8 of their last 11 games. Spain is a totally different thing. Basically, the Netherlands scored 2 goals in the 80% of their games, and Spain scores less than 2 goals in the 50% of their games. So very careful with this Spain, because yes, I think that they are favorite, but still this game can become complicated for them. So I'm gonna go for Spain to win the second half, contrary to Daniele, 164, and I'm gonna go as well for the second half to have more goals than the first half. That pays 2.
Ferran Torres, 13 games without scoring, and if someone is back in the draw, for instance, taking in consideration what Alvaro was saying, is 5.7, so very good odds, because Spain is to favorite. And Alvaro, the last game is Switzerland-Portugal. We saw this game very recently in Portugal. Was an easy victory, 4-0. I think is one of the best teams in this Nations League. So far, Portugal, very entertaining, scoring a lot of goals. We all know that they had a really deep squad, a lot of quality, and Switzerland on the opposite, one of these teams that struggle a lot to score, only 1 goal and 0 points.
Exactly. Edu, just on Spain, Czech Republic, you recommended the draw. There is another one that I forgot to say. The draw after 30 minutes is 183. Which is very good as well. By the way, let's go back to Switzerland, Portugal. Yeah, Portugal for me, they've got the best, maybe the best squad in Europe, really, all together with France, but maybe I prefer the Portuguese one. Maybe I prefer the Portuguese one, seriously. Yeah, seriously. I really mean it. I think that they got all the possible profile of player in the team, some emerging talent, and then there are some others that they've been so long there that we don't even praise them anymore. But for example, what about Bernardo Silva and his assist in the first goal to 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲 to score that beautiful goal? I mean, it is a very composed side, but the problem with Portugal is that, like Gareth Southgate does with England, they don't have a manager who is very daring, and sometimes I think the Portuguese side is playing perhaps with too many tactics in their head or too many precautions in their head. But for this game, I'm going to go for the following. I mean, Switzerland the other day against Spain, I saw that, you know, they were very different with Czech Republic in the sense that they don't stay, they don't defend so much, they try to attack, they try to score, and, you know, that's good for them, and sometimes it works. For example, they beat France in the Euros. But for this game, I think that I'm going to back Portugal to win. Yeah, that pays 2.11. I like this one. Or otherwise, I like the both teams to score market, 178.
I think we don't have to underestimate how difficult it is to win in Switzerland, by the way, because that was the first defeat for the Swiss at home in 8 years. They went 23 games unbeaten. So, okay, Spain were not impressive, but, you know, the likes of Italy, for example, recently, and other teams, they've not been able to go there and win. The Swiss against Spain, they improved defensively. I found them very, very badly defensively set up against Portugal when they conceded 4 goals, and some of them on the counter as well. But they lack the cutting edge. They started with Embolo, with Shaqiri. I wonder why 𝐿 has not tried Embolo and Okafor up front again, as he did in the first game against Czech Republic when they created more chances. Maybe we will see them now. But when it comes to Portugal, they score at least 2 goals in 4 of the last 5 games. But what impressed me the most in the game against Czech Republic is that even when the game was 2-0 with 80 minutes gone, they kept going. They wanted to have the third and the fourth, and they came really, really close to do it. A very good game from Gonzalo Guedes, breaking the line, making a lot of runs. Guedes.
The commentator was saying Guedes yesterday, and he was driving me insane.
All right, so I'm sorry. I mean, all right, yeah, sorry. This is the Gattuso pronunciation, because he's the new manager of Guedes at Valencia. But it was fantastic, very good goal, and also the movements. You know, with Portugal, they seem to do the easy things, like, you know, the things that they teach you when you are 8 at the football school. Pass and move, but they do it so well and they do it so quickly that they unlock defenses very, very well. Look, I think it's going to be a tough one for Portugal. It might not be a high-scoring game, but I do agree with Alvaro in this one. Portugal to win. Last time I checked was 2.16. Now you tell me it's 2.11. That means the bookies think that Portugal are, yeah, they got a good chance.
Gattuso is going to be the manager of Guedes, and Gattuso said that he wants players that failed actually in his career, so I'm not sure if Guedes fit in Gattuso's squad. We will see next season. Danny, let's go with your... Many players actually, if you go, for instance, with Arsenal transfer market. Danny, let's listen to your ACCA for these 4 games.
Netherlands to win a half-time and full-time. Wales and Belgium over 2.5 goals. Spain to win. Total odds 6.81.
Alvaro, your ACCA?
Yeah, Netherlands-Poland over 2.5 goals, Netherlands to score in both halves, Spain to win the second half, Switzerland-Portugal over 2.25 goals. Altogether 10.61.
Thank you, guys. See you very soon. Bye-bye.
Ciao.
I hope you enjoyed the video. Remember to leave your comments and press the like and subscribe, of course. And also remember that we have a podcast for you. Thanks for watching. Keep enjoying Nations League. Bye-bye.